What's up, everybody? This is the first episode of my weekly podcast. I felt like this would be kind of a condensed version of the live streams, kind of mixed with the uploaded videos. And we're going to get straight into it. So, the biggest topic that you guys comment on or ask me about is rentals. You guys ask me, how do I find a rental? Where do I find a rental? And the whole process. So that's what we're going to talk about on today's podcast. We're going to get right into it. So basically, I have five uh, kind of strict tips that I recommend or tips that I follow when I go do a rental search. This is a perfect time to do this video also because I'm currently technically in the market to look for another place. I'm currently staying here at my 2 bedroom, 2 bathroom apartment, which I love. I just know that I could downgrade to a 1 bedroom and save maybe $150 to $200. So I'm kind of looking. I'm not necessarily sold on the idea of moving yet, but I am keeping my eyes open. So I thought this is a great time to do it. Let's go ahead and get into our top tips. So my first tip would be if you guys are coming from um, basically your home country or traveling anywhere else and your plan is to come to Da Nang or practically any city that you guys want to, my first tip is to basically base yourself. And what I mean in that aspect is to settle in and basically book a place, a hotel, a short-term stay when you first arrive in Da Nang or whatever your city that you're going to, your destination city. The reason why I say this is because it gives you flexibility. So the first one is security. So you land in your city and you kind of understand, hey, I got a place to stay. I don't need to rush around and make a quick decision. I normally recommend people book it for 3 to 4 days. So you come back from the airport, you drop your bags off you feel like you have a place. You can scope the neighborhood. You can go out, you can see what rentals are available. You can see basically, hey, this is what this area offers, this is what this area offers. You can find out price ranges. So that's kind of the scouting in person process that I kind of mentioned to people. And you're not feeling like you're in a rush to make a quick or bad decision. Um, so, like I said, you book a hotel for 3 or 4 days, and basically, even if it takes you a little bit longer, you can either extend at the current hotel that you're staying at, or if you really had to, you can move out to another hotel. But I've ran into a lot of travelers that kind of made a rush decision on either where they stay, their accommodation location. Like maybe they, for example, here they would stay in Sun Tra and they sign a 3 month, 6 month lease, whatever, and they kind of get locked in. They realize, hey, man, this is not the neighborhood I wanted to stay in. That's why I recommend just a short stay, and then you want to go out and look the boots to the ground type of situation where you actually see the place. Online, you're going to see perfect pictures, probably pictures of the place when it first opened, brand new, spotless, perfectly cleaned, perfect pictures. You do not want to sign anything or enter into any agreement until you've visually seen it and you've talked to everybody, you've scoped out the neighborhood, things like that. So that is kind of my first tip is to base yourself. Um, you need to make sure that you have your base and you don't want to make a rush decision. That can cost you money, that can cost you time, that can cause you headache of where you want to stay. Our next tip is going to be setting your requirements. So for me, this is one of the biggest things you can do that can lead to a happy decision, a peaceful life, money in your pocket being saved. What you want to do is you want to define your needs, not just, hey, where do I want to stay, how long I want to stay, but things like the size of the apartment, your total budget, Is electricity or water included? Also things like, do you want a balcony? Um, do you want a peaceful, quiet area? Do you want a view? Do you want to be up high? Just certain different things about what your needs are. Um, I will give you guys an example of how I do it. Um, in just a second. I'll show you exactly how I actually make a post and what I do. Um, so for me, that's going to lead us to our number 3 tip. It kind of ties into number 2, but my number 3rd tip is utilize your online services. Here in Danong, I primarily use Facebook Marketplace. Um, I just find it simpler and easier. I know how to use Facebook. I have Facebook groups that I join, rental groups, very specific things like that. Some people choose to use Zalo, which is kind of the big website out here in Vietnam. You'll find rentals, you'll find everything like that. But I'll show you exactly, I'll give you an example of how I use these online services like Facebook Marketplace or Facebook groups. Um, let's give you a perfect example. So I come in here, and if you guys can see, I have a perfectly laid out requirement. If you guys look right there, I have very strict specific requirements, right, guys? So I will be as specific and to the point as possible. This is what I put when I was looking for the place that I'm currently renting at now. I'm looking for a very specific rental only at Muang Tan Apartments. This would be for the month of February. 2 bedrooms, must have Dragon Bridge view, must be under 13 million VND with water and electricity included. Rent, water, and electricity total only 13 million. So you guys can see in that first little chunk, I'm clearly defining my area. More specifically, I'm defining my apartment. Most of you guys will not have a specific apartment in mind, but you guys will have an area, or you guys will have the number of bedrooms or what's suitable for you. I even stated that I need a view of the Dragon Bridge. That's kind of a deal breaker for me, or at least a borderline deal breaker for me. And if you guys can see, I clearly stated my budget requirements. I stated must be under 13 million, and I want water and electricity included. That is not typically included in most apartment rentals, but for myself, I have always had the luck of being able to include that. And if you guys see right here also, no deposit. I've been lucky enough to not have to ever put down a deposit. And then, even though I recommend adding that last little chunk of please only comment or message me if you have something at Muang Tan that fits all my requirements. The truth is, guys, you are going to get messages from people that want to sell you a timeshare, people that want to rent you a motorbike, people that want you to rent a apartment that's completely different setup or budget or even layout and requirements as you want. That's just Vietnam. You're gonna have to weed through those. So that's how I basically structure my initial search, and that will cut down on a lot of time. So if you combine that with you've already landed in your destination city and you're staying at a hotel, that would be my first thing that I would basically do is make my requirements and basically go into these services, which I show you guys right here. Housing an apartment for rent in Da Nang. They have multiple groups like this throughout Facebook. You can look on actual Facebook Marketplace, or they will have groups in here that are designed for expats, for rental apartments, for things like that. So I've joined these groups, and I will go in there and I will basically type in that little structured write something in Facebook. I will post my list. And then I post that. And then within about a day, I've usually heard from multiple agents about exactly if they have something, or if they do or if they don't. That's the time that you're really going to put in a lot of work. This is where you need to be good at making sure these stuff fit your requirements, making sure they fit your budget, your location, because this is going to be practically the most legwork that you do, is speaking to these agents and finding out if it's even worth taking a look at this stuff. Because once you've narrowed these places down, you're going to notice maybe 10 agents have messaged you, and maybe only two of those places actually fit your guys' requirements, right? So this is going to be all the heavy lifting, the stuff like that. It's going to be, hey, your place doesn't fit my requirements, your place does fit my requirements, or hey, I'm not interested in a motorbike. I'm looking for a apartment, not a motorbike scooter,
Are any of
right?
you planning a trip to Danong in the next 60 days? Well, book a free 30-minute video consultation with me to get all the information you need to settle in smoothly. During this call, I'll provide personalized advice and answer any of the questions you have about traveling or living in Danong. So don't hesitate to book your free consultation today. The link is in the description below.
Right? At that point, when you start getting those and you start finding things that you like, that is the point that I start setting up appointments and I start saying, hey, um, I'm moving in, or I'm moving out of my current place, or I'm landing in Danong on such and such date. Can I please come and take a look at it? Um, you will usually get a response quickly here in Danong from these agents, because shockingly, stuff goes really, really quick. It's not like back in the USA where renting an apartment is a month or 2 month or even longer process. Um, they tell me I look too early, and I usually try to look about 2 weeks to 10 days early. And a lot of the agents will say, hey man, you're too early. You need to look like 2 days before. And it's just a thing, like renting places here is so easy. As long as you have the money and the deposit, you could move in right now. All you need to do is give them the money, give them the deposit, sign your paperwork, and you're in your new place. So things go very quickly, especially in Danong. I've been here for over a year and a half, and things go extremely, extremely fast. Shockingly, we are in the rainy season, or the off season right now, and stuff is just getting snatched up. So there's definitely some kind of movement going on here in Danong that I haven't seen in the previous years. So I'm not really sure what's going on in Danong. All this local stuff here is all booked, and kind of the agents and other landlords have told me everything's kind of taken up, all the way till spring, which is shocking because last year, we didn't have this problem. We still had good quality rentals available. So I don't know if it's due to the extension of how long you can stay here now. When I was here last year, I was doing border runs every 30 days. So from February to August, I was doing a 30-day visa run. I believe at the end of August, basically September, they started, they changed it to a 90-day visa. So maybe the 90-day visa is causing a lot more people to come here. Also, the lack of rain during this rainy season, we haven't had a real big rainy season. So maybe those combination of two different things are causing a lot more people to stay here. I don't really notice more people here, but I do notice on all the sites that I talk to, the agents and everything like that, that all the stuff is it's kind of snatched up. There's a site that I use. It's called Danong Landlord, and I will try to show you guys this one really quick, because normally this stuff was always readily available, but for some reason now it's like almost all the stuff in my area is gone. So let me show you guys exactly what I'm speaking of. So I come into here, right? And I look for apartments. I will come down here. I want my main location to be right here. This is the area that I like to stay in, which is basically the Mai Key Beach or the An Thuong area. And I put in minimum beds. I need at least a one bedroom. And my maximum price is $400, right? So we'll hit search now. Last year, there used to be tons of stuff in my area. Now, granted, some of it wasn't great, some of it wasn't horrible. Um, but if we go look and we actually get zeroed in on the area, if you look, here's my area, guys. Um, let's take a look. There is just a lot less stuff. This place used to be completely filled. Um, but now it's just not. Like this place used to be double or triple this. Um, and I just don't know why. Let's actually, this is what we got to put. Watch available. So I'm sorry, there look like way more stuff, but let's update this real quick. Now let's take a look. It went from all those places to look almost. There's literally nothing in my area. Look at that. So nothing. This is my area right here, and you see nothing's available, right? Let's switch. Let me show you visually how much stuff is gone. So right here, there's nothing available for $400 in a one bedroom. Let's switch this setting right here to any instead of available, and now watch. You'll see exactly how much stuff is just in this area compared to being available. So everything is gone. Everything is gone. So look at how much stuff is actually in this area. But as soon as we switch it from any, this setting right here, look. So all these blues are places. But as soon as you set it to available, which means it's not rented, and we hit that, let's go back. This is amazing. I've never seen this site like this. So we scroll back into that same place of availability. And if you guys look, there's absolutely nothing in there. So that is definitely telling me something is going on because remember, guys, this is the low season. This is when everything should be available at the cheapest price. Something is going on in Danong. I don't know what it is yet. It eats me up because I'm a person that tries to think logically and tries to figure out what's going on and what's causing this. Um, so I don't know. If you guys know what's causing all these rentals to be gone in the slowest off-peak rainy season, please leave a comment down below because I would love to figure out why. I think that's what's causing a little bit of issue of me finding a quality place. You will find it a little bit outside of the An Thuong area for sure. But for myself, the An Thuong specific area that I just showed you guys is kind of a deal breaker for me. So for me, I just can't move out of this area. I don't ride a scooter, so I'm not able to be mobile and live way across on the river. And people say, oh, well, go across the river. You can spend less money, which is true, but it causes two issues for me. The first issue is I would be commuting back over to the beach almost every day because this is where I love the restaurants. This is where I love the grocery stores. This is where everybody I know lives. Um, Basically, the grocery stores, the markets, the restaurants, everything is here. So I would be commuting. So I would move out of this neighborhood, commute back here, all to just spend time. And then when you factor in, I'd have to be paying for a Grab or the in-drive service. At that point, if you multiply 2 or 3 Grab rides a day per month for 30 days, you're almost spending the same amount of money, if not more, to live somewhere further away and still have to spend the effort and time to commute and then still spend more money to pay to get back and forth. So that it just doesn't make sense. That's why everyone asks, why don't you move away? Why don't you move away? And that's kind of my typical answer for that. Um, the next tip number 4, is going to be negotiate. You guys are going to want to negotiate. This is Asia. This is Vietnam. Almost everything is negotiable here. Um, there's only few things that I kind of don't really bargain or negotiate with. I don't negotiate on food. I don't negotiate on like if there's a set price in a store or something, I don't really negotiate with that. But on rent and security deposit and stuff like that, I definitely negotiate. And you're gonna want to bargain wisely for sure. Um, like I said, everything's negotiable here. So the first thing that you're gonna want to negotiate on is going to be the rent price. So the rent price is going to be the biggest thing. You usually get an inflated price from the start. I'm not going to say all the time, but it's usually negotiable. For example, if something's 8 million, you could probably get it for 7.5, especially if it's still available after a few days or a week. Um, and not only that, but if you negotiate, if you're someone that can stay for a longer period of time, I'm under no contract. I'm on a month to month, which is extremely rare here. But if you guys are gonna come here, the standard lease is usually 3 months. But let's say you know you're gonna stay here for 6 months, you can kind of use that as bargaining power. So you could say, "Hey, I notice you want 8 million per month for a 3 month contract. How about I do 7 million and I'll sign a 6 month contract?" In Asia, the stability is very much kind of rewarded here. So if they'd rather take a smaller amount of money to be feel secure and know that they're going to have someone there for a longer time. So that usually works. If you guys are flexible on how long you guys can stay, then that would be my recommendation is to negotiate on the rent first of all. Second of all, 99% of the times you guys are going to get a deposit or you're going to be required to put down a deposit. Uh, you can negotiate on that also, guys. For example, I've never had a security deposit, but when I do my videos and I go negotiate for other people, or when I go negotiate when I was looking for a 1 bedroom to possibly move to myself, I negotiated the security deposit. Typical security deposit is whatever the cost of 1 month of rent. So if the rent is 8 million a month, they are usually going to require you to deposit 8 million as a security deposit. Um, but I've negotiated it. I've said, you know what, that's a little too much. I don't normally do deposits. Max I can do is 5 million. And I'd say 70 to 75% of the time, the landlord will negotiate on the security deposit. So those are my two big things that you guys want to negotiate with. Because like I said, in Asia, you can always negotiate. Um, which brings me up to kind of my crucial point of what happens. You guys ask, well, what happens if I negotiate and it doesn't work out? What am I supposed to do? I'm going to be stranded, or what's going to happen? That brings me up to point number four. Um, you guys are gonna negotiate, and then once that doesn't happen, you guys walk away, and I'm gonna explain exactly why. So when you walk away, you are probably 70% of the time going to get a better offer or some kind of perks. They're either going to say, "Hey, you know what? I know you only wanted a 1 month lease. We required a 3 month lease. We will do the same price, but we'll go ahead and do your one month." Or they'll say, okay, fine. You wanted 7 million, we wanted 8 million. We'll go ahead and let's meet in the middle. Let's meet in the middle. Let's do 7.5. When you walk away, they know a sale is potentially being lost, and now they have to go show that apartment to someone else. They need to take time out of their busy day, go message someone on Facebook or Zallo, and they need to say, "Hey, let's go meet and let me show someone else's apartment." And they got to go through the same process. Someone else is probably going to negotiate. Someone else might set up an appointment. They might not show up. So if they're that close, they will usually, I don't know if I would say budge, but they're much more willing to play around with, "Hey, this guy's leaving. Let's make our last pitch." That's kind of how it goes. And in the same boat, if you guys can see right here, I mentioned even if your expectations are met, and everything is perfect, right? Everything is perfect. They say, okay, fine, we will do 7 million. Okay, fine, we'll take only half the security deposit that we ask, right? I still recommend walking away. The reason why I recommend walking away is because of two things. One, the biggest reason is you want to have a cooling off period. Now, when I say walk away, I don't necessarily mean sleeping on it or going a couple days. What I mean is walk away, tell them that you're thinking about it, right? And this works in both situations. Even if they passed up on your deal, you need to walk away and you need to think about it. You need to say, man, is this really the right places? I looked at that other place, and that other place was in a better location. It was cheaper, or I just didn't really like something about that place. Or on the flip side, the second point of that topic is, let's say that you like really, really like the place. I still recommend walking away. Walk away, go to lunch, go grab a banh mi, go to your favorite coffee shop, go somewhere and put the, I don't know, I wouldn't say stress, but I would say put the responsibility on the owner to think about it. Because what's normally going to happen is when you're out there at the banh mi place, you're at the cafe, you might get a Facebook message and they say, hey, I just contacted the landlord, and the landlord's more willing to negotiate. Can you come back and see the place? Or the landlord's willing to negotiate. That's why I recommend that. And then on the flip side, let's say you're absolutely sold on the place. I love the place. I love the place. And you walk away, right? A lot of Americans that I know are like, wow, I missed the place because I left the door. I lost the place. No, you go eat your banh mi, you go sit at your coffee shop, and then you go like, you know what? That's fine. I'll pay the security deposit. I'll pay the rent. I really like this place, right? Then what you do is you just send them a message. Say, hey, you know what? I thought about it. It's a good deal. I thought about it. I really weighed out my decisions, and I think I'm going to take the place. No agent is going to tell you, you know what, you walked out on us. We're just not going to, we refuse. We're not going to rent it to you. No one is going to do that, guys. They're just not going to do that. So that's the big reason why I tell you guys to walk away, because that's our only power that we have as tourists or travelers or outsiders to a city or a country. That's your only bargaining power that you guys actually have, is walking away. You don't really have recourse in the sense of, well, I'm going to sue you, or treat me better, or I'm going to contact your manager. Like, that stuff is just not going to work in Vietnam. And that's just the plain and simple truth. That might work in the USA, but it's just not going to work in Vietnam. So your only power is, whether it's an apartment, whether you see a pair of glasses that you like or a souvenir, your only power is to walk away. Once you walk away, for people that have been to Asia, they know when you walk away, that's when the best price or last offer comes in from the vendor or from the agent or anybody like that. So those kind of are my big four topics. My last one would be, get everything in writing, guys. Now, I just mentioned suing and lawsuits and stuff. It's not a thing here, but you definitely still want to get stuff in writing. Whether you can take it to court, whether that will hold up, is another story, but it does give you a little more leeway. You want to get everything in detail, guys. You want to make sure that you get everything from the monthly rent, not just the monthly rent, but you want to make sure that that basically you know exactly how much your electricity is per month. That means some places range from 3,800 per kilowatt. Some places are 4,000 per kilowatt, so they fluctuate. Some places only charge 50,000 per person for water. Some places charge 150,000 for water. So you want to negotiate on the the price, the electricity. You want all this in your contract, because you don't want to say like, oh, well, remember you told me this, and then say, oh, I don't remember. I don't, whether they do remember or whether they just say that. If you don't have that in writing, you can't show them. You can't say, hey, guess what? Also, what you want to do is you want to have in writing of how long they have to fix something. Like for example, a lot of people don't think about this, but let's say you find mold. Mold is kind of common in a lot of places in beach cities and Da Nang. Luckily, I've been able to avoid that and not have it happen. But sometimes you might run into a place and you might find molds growing or something, and you didn't see it at the beginning. Or let's say I've had a washer break down on me, right? Or an AC. I've had an AC break on me in my bedroom, and it was terrible for that night. You need to say like, write it in your contract, like, hey, you guys have 2 days or 3 days to fix the stuff. If not, then I want my security deposit back, and I'm gonna move out. Make sure you get stuff like that in the contract, because if not, if you don't have that stuff, they're gonna just say, oh, we'll get to it next week or this. Because remember, they have your security deposit, they already have your month of whatever you paid for. So there's no motivation on their end at all, unless you do have something in writing that you can threaten, I guess. I mean, we're really probably not going to have much power to take legal action, but it does um, help and understand, and it kind of avoids misunderstandings. So you definitely want something like that. Another point that I would say about what you want to negotiate or at least get clearly in your contract is noise. So that's going to tie me into probably two quick points. So let's say you go take a look at a place in the morning. You go check it out at 10 o'clock. It's nice, it's quiet, it's peaceful. And you're like, man, this place is perfect. The place is perfect. It's quiet. Because Southeast Asia is noisy, especially in certain areas, certain cities. So let's say you go check it out at 10 o'clock. You love the place. You come back the next day. You got your money. You pay your security deposit. You move in. All good, right? Man, that's perfect. I love this place. I love it. I love it. I love it. Then your first night that you're there, about 8 o'clock at night, all of a sudden your walls are shaking and you're hearing karaoke and people are screaming. You have drunk people outside and you're like, wait a second. Man, this place is terrible. I can't sleep. You only looked at it in the morning. So you're like, wow, I didn't know that there's a karaoke bar. Then the owner's probably not going to tell you. They're not going to say, hey, you know what? There's a very, very loud karaoke bar 2 doors from us. So be cautious. They're not going to do that. So that's why I recommend, once you check out a place, look at it again at the opposite time. For example, like let's say you go at 10 o'clock in the morning, you want to go at nighttime to see if there's karaoke, see if there's crazy parties at night. And on the opposite, if you go at nighttime, let's say you came in at night or something, somehow you looked at it at nighttime, and you're like, man, it's quiet, I can sleep. Go in the morning the next day or before you sign a lease and go see. One of the big things going on right now is construction in Da Nang. Construction is almost everywhere. Luckily, I avoid it because I'm way up high. I'm on a 42-story building, so I sleep like a mouse. Like I sleep so good here. Like I couldn't hear a pin drop. It's so quiet. But if you're downstairs, you hear a lot. So construction is going to be a thing in certain areas and in certain apartments. So you need to, if you check it out at night, go back the next day between 8 o'clock or 5 o'clock. That's usually when most construction is done. Some construction goes on till 7 or 8 o'clock at night. And that's the last thing that you guys want, is to move into a place that you thought was perfect, that you paid good money for, and you signed a long-term contract, and all of a sudden there's something that's just terrible that you didn't know about. So get stuff like that in your contract, like, hey, if there's some kind of partying or something like that that was unaware, put that in your writing. You probably won't have recourse, but it's much better than not having it in recourse. Um, that would be kind of my uh, bonus tip on that, is kind of get that part in writing. Like I said, you're not necessarily going to have your needs met. I mean, you might have to fight with that, but I would much rather have that in there than not. So, that being said, those are my big five tips. Um, that's kind of how I go and look at a place, and that's kind of the walkthrough that I do. In that order is practically how I do it. That's just kind of how I structure myself in that order of how to find an apartment. Some people don't have the time. They don't have, they're terrified to negotiate. They're terrified to deal with stuff. Um, I'm used to it. I do it here in Asia. But some people, I know a few people that just don't want to do that. And they get either taken advantage of, they overpay, or they get locked into contracts that are just terrible. Which kind of leads me, shameless plug for me, but if you guys go into my YouTube link, I do offer two things. I offer a free 30-minute consultation for anybody that's coming out here in the next 60 days. If you guys have more questions on how to find an apartment, where do I look? Do I use Agoda? Do I use Airbnb? What do I do? Do I wait till I get there? I can answer all those questions on the 30-minute free video consultation for anybody that's coming out here within 60 days. Or if you guys have questions about visas, I've done so many visa runs and I know how the visa works here. I know if you guys should take the bus out of here. I know if you should take the flight to Bangkok. I can kind of walk you through all that. And then also there is another section in my link where I can take care of all the apartment stuff, all the hassle for all these newcomers or people that are terrified of this. I do offer an in-person service, which basically is kind of like a hold your hand type of service. I do everything from A to B. So I pick you up at the airport as soon as you land. You guys don't have to worry about, hey man, is the taxi driver going to rip me off? I pick you up from the airport. I get you back in. I go take you to a currency exchange place. If you want to go find out where the no fee ATMs are, I go do all that. The next day, or even the same day if it's still open, I recommend do not getting a SIM card from the airport. They rip you off. The cards don't always work properly. You get much less data. So in my in-person service, I take you guys to the real in-person stores. I use Vinaphone, but we can go to Viatel or any other things like that. And then I give you a tour of the An Thuong neighborhood. I catch you guys up to speed on, hey, this is where the beach is. Hey, this is the best markets. This is the best restaurants. This is what you don't want to do. This is what you want to do. Like all that stuff. So if some of you guys are like the people that I'm talking about that just don't like dealing with this hassle, you guys can book my in-person service where I take care of practically all that. And basically, once you've been here for a day, and you see me walking you through the process, you guys are caught up to speed. You guys will probably feel like, wow, I felt like I've been here for 2, 3, 4 weeks or a month. And you guys have only been here for a day or two. So that is a little plug for anybody that either wants to come here and doesn't want to deal with that, or just feels that they don't want to waste their time on all the searching and doing this. I have no problem taking care of that. You guys can find that in the link in my YouTube. And this is, as I mentioned, my first of many more podcasts that I'm going to do. This one was based on probably the most talked about subject, rental apartments. We will do different variety of topics on future podcasts. We'll talk about visas, we'll talk about current events, we'll talk about different stuff like that. So once again, I appreciate you guys watching this video. Please hit the like button. Double please hit the subscribe button if you guys got any value out of this video. It does help the channel grow, and it does push my videos and my channel out to a larger audience on YouTube. My New Year's resolution or goal before New Year's is to hit 3,000 subscribers. We're about 300 subscribers away right now. So every single subscriber that keeps pumping that, hitting that subscribe button helps me out and helps the channel grow. I really, really, really appreciate it. Um, Also in the comments, please let me know what you guys think of these podcasts, video podcast type of videos. Do you guys think I should do more in the future? Do you guys prefer the lives instead? Do you guys prefer my uploaded videos? What do you guys think about these videos, these podcast style videos? I know it's not the best background. It's kind of boring, which is kind of why I kind of pop up these little graphics on here. Laptop camera isn't as good as the GoPro. I know that. So I kind of have to keep you guys a little stimulated with some background pictures and stuff like that. But please let me know what you guys think of this style of video. I do have another apartment search rental video coming out very, very, very soon. So On that note, I really, really appreciate it. Um, I thank you guys so much, man. I still can't believe how much this channel grew. I never really imagined that I was going to be monetized, and I am now monetized, which is beyond my furthest, wildest dream when I started the YouTube channel. But please go subscribe if you haven't, and check out all my other videos. I think they're very valuable. Once again, I appreciate it. Thank you very much. And like I always say, have a good day and happy travels.